From the first time I saw BrrZerker, I really wanted to create and build around this character, just pure off the fact that this tanky style Frost character just really interests me until I realized their action skills are kind of bad. The Dreadwind and the Feral Surge are kind of just not really that great, especially because they base so much off of melee. Until I realized that this SporeWarden with the multi-class against Barrage is essentially like Zane's Mantis Cannon. It actually got pointed out to me by Chadley99. Everyone go check him out. He's a wonderful homie of mine, and we've been really collaborating on a lot of different build setups since we both have been playing the game. But I really wanted to just make something where I'm able to constantly keep up my Enrage while getting myself some boosts from some awesome spells and interactions in the game. What's going on, everyone? Byrdman here with another Wonderlands build. Today we're going to be showing off my BrrZerker SporeWarden build. This is going to be a just awesome all-around Enrage focused setup that's going to constantly make sure you have a lot of frost damage going while also keeping up plenty of gun damage as well. Make sure you're checking out this over on my Discord because I'll have the save file over there. It's got a lot of juicy gear for you, so even if you're not using BrrZerker and SporeWarden, it'll still be pretty useful for you. Also, make sure you check me out on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch at Byrdman778 using code BIRD at GFIL checkout. Now, let's hop right into the setup and kind of show you exactly what you need to do. So let's start going over the pieces of gear that you need to do for this build. First off, when it goes to the weapons, obviously getting either a Dahlia or a Hyperion version of this SMG with the ×4 Sandhawk-ish style variant is going to be your best bet. This is just a very consistent weapon for you to have on essentially any build right now, just because lots of pellet count, lots of damage all around, and it just really works with BrrZerker because of that cryo element. But the second one is going to be this liquid cooling. Liquid cooling has become, like, honestly one of the top tier legendaries in the game, purely off the fact of its ability of whenever you get critical hits, the Skulldugger, or essentially that bandit COV effect where it heats up actually cools down instead. So essentially you're able to infinitely fire without having to take your finger off the mag, as long as you are constantly hitting crits. It's kind of like the Tizzy, but instead of just blowing the entire mag in one shot, it's able to just consistently go, and it's much more precise, and it's also in cryo element, so it's absolutely perfect for our BrrZerker. Now, when it goes to our melee weapon, I like this Twin Soul acceleration because it's got that vampire effect on it, and also it reads melee attacks deal 10% of all non-melee damage dealt by the Fatemaker over the last 10 seconds as bonus damage, and resets this bonus. This is just great for whenever you run up to somebody, you freeze them real fast, and then you can melee them because they're almost instantly going to die. So it actually does add a really solid melee effect into this overall setup. When it comes to our rings, I definitely recommend going into maybe like ability damage, going into something for your weapon specifically, gun damage, frost damage, anything like that. I honestly have two kind of BS rings on here right now, just because I really am having a hard time finding decent rolls of those in the chaos chambers, and it's just a real big pain to kind of take rings off of other characters and chuck them on here that might work better. So again, that's where I'd really recommend you definitely going into some of those things. I use companion damage right now, just purely off the fact that we are using the little Shroomy, so that'll help him out a little bit, give him a little bit more. The effects I do have on this though is while health is above 50%, effects are increased by 25 and dealing bonus damage to bosses. These are both just very effective, especially with BrrZerker, because you're going to keep that health up above 50% most of the time anyway, so having that's really nice, and just going into a boss area and having increased effects is really solid. Speaking of health, we have a Cursed Wit on this setup. The Cursed Wit is honestly becoming a very big crutch shield for most builds, because once you hit that level 40 CT20, it is really hard to keep your shield active because enemies just absolutely health get you automatically. It's very frustrating. So having something like this where our ward is depleted, we're getting damage reduction and extra damage to nearby enemies is just solid. Also, we get that 10% movement speed whenever it's depleted. I add the enchantment of action skill start to increase damage dealt. This is huge for this setup because we are using the barrage, so that kind of has that almost like Zane Mantis Cannon effect where activating your action skill is going to give you that effect. I mean, just shooting the bow, instantly 20%. We like this a lot. This is a very solid thing. And again, obviously, try to keep your shield as broken as humanly possible. I definitely do some stuff in the skill tree to kind of help affect that, but you want to throw yourself into damage. When it comes to our class mod, obviously you want to focus into BrrZerker and SporeWarden. I specifically go more into BrrZerker just for that frost efficiency it gives for me. But this one that I currently have on here has some gun damage, maximum health, damage dealt, just really nice. Again, maximum health is going to become a huge thing, I think, in this game, just purely off the fact, again, wards are getting instantly depleted in these higher tiers and everything. So kind of having a little bit more health to help yourself out is important. And speaking of that, convert 30% of Fate Maker's damage dealt to dark magic damage. Dark magic efficiency is increased by 30%. I know I just said efficiency wrong. Who F cares? But know that this will essentially kind of help mitigate some of that loss of health. You're going to be constantly be able to do this, and it also is transferred over to your Spore companion as well because they share your same damage type. So again, this is going to help keep you alive as long as possible. I actually, oh gosh. When it comes to your amulet, obviously you're just wanting to kind of go into things that are going to help boost you up right now. I have this just crappy level 21 Skeep on right now just to kind of help me out, get a little bit of health here and there. But it also has dark magic damage and BrrZerker. Again, if you're trying to min-max your setup as much as humanly possible, going to BrrZerker or SporeWarden, going to maybe Frost or dark magic damage, trying to get things like gun damage or frost damage in the middle section, and then find yourself a very solid perk on the bottom to help boost that up a little bit. Again, we're using the specific Skeep one, so this is just going to help keep us alive. And finally, when it comes to our spell, we're going to be using a Buffmeister. This is honestly going to be one of those controversial spells out there just because there is the spell zerking with it, kind of like glitch exploit that you're able to do thanks to the homie DePriesticles. Good job, DePriesticles, for finding an awesome exploit in the game. But this is just really good for gun builds all around if you're just using one singular spell, just because it's going to get you that extra juice that you need. I currently use the spellcast increased gun damage, so essentially whenever I activate it, I'm just for 10 seconds trying to do as much damage as humanly possible. It's just really solid all around to have. So obviously, when it comes to our skill trees, obviously BrrZerker, SporeWarden, we're going to talk about the Rage of the Ancients class feat. On action skill start, the Fate Maker becomes Enraged. While Enraged, they deal bonus frost damage for a duration, and then the Rage duration will not deplete while an action skill is active and ends if the Fate Maker enters Save Your Soul. Activating action skill when already enraged restores a portion of the Rage timer. So we are obviously going into our barrage for this, so the action skill starts going to constantly give us that Enrage. We really like this just because, again, Enrage just helps give us that extra frost damage. That just helps all the different weapons we're using, and just the fact that it's BrrZerker, it's going to just synergize perfectly. But barrage, again, we really like this just because even if we're getting like close to the end of that Enrage timer, we can kind of count it in our own head. We're able to activate it real quick, reset that timer, keep being enraged. It's just a really cool combo. And then over on the SporeWarden, we have our Mushroom Companion who's able to do that poison damage. We are able to target enemies and they'll lunge toward them. And also they share our damage. So again, any boost that you do on your side is going to go to your Mushroom Companion. Starting on the BrrZerker side, we're going to go into Frost damage, 5 points in Savagery for that melee damage and Rage in duration. It's typically 15 seconds, so with this as well, it brings it up to 20. We just like that all around just because staying in Rage as long as humanly possible, especially with our action skill. Timers constantly going off, we're able to time that a little bit better and just keep that duration going as long as humanly possible. Full points in Icebreaker, but my class mod helps boost it up a little bit, giving us a little bit more damage to those slowed and frozen enemies. 5 points into Old Ways, just because we want to be in the face of everyone all the time, especially with our Cursed Wit and how it interacts with being close to enemies. So it's kind of a double whammy here. So we really do enjoy this, and we get that 30% damage reduction. 3 points into Cold Snap, but it's 2 points for my class mod as well. So extra movement speed and frost efficiency. And then we're also doubled whenever we are in Rage, which is literally all the time. So this is just a really solid one. And then I mentioned this before, something we can do to kind of help out our shield in a way, the unarmored defense. A portion of the Fate Maker's ward is reserved and cannot be restored, but their maximum health is increased and the health can no longer be reserved. We like this a lot, just purely off the fact that it's going to help break our Cursed Wit a little bit faster, and we get more health out of it. So just very good synergy with that and our shield. 1 point in the Blood Frenzy, essentially just to get down the tree more than anything. It's a kill skill that will increase our Enrage timer and maximum health. We really, really like Relentless Rage, purely off the fact that dealing damage while on our Save Our Soul will partially restore the timer. We had a perk like this in Guardian Rank back in Borderlands 3. The fact that they turned into just an all-around skill for BrrZerker is sick, but also the fact that whenever we come out of Save Our Soul, we are enraged. So again, just resetting that timer, getting us back in the fight. It is okay to go down with this build because as soon as you pop back up, you're enraged, you're ready to go. We got 1 point of Blast Chill just for the fact that whenever we melee an enemy, there's a chance for that Frost ability damage Nova to go off. There is some spaghetti behind this. I'm going to find it, but I'm getting that you're probably able to just like instantly bomb a group of enemies if you get one of these hits off on somebody, get enough Frost damage going. We really enjoy this. And then finally, Blood of the Fallen kill skill. The Fate Maker's remaining action skill cooldown is reduced by a percentage, and if their action skill is currently active, restore a percentage of the duration instead. Honestly, it's a 1 point for 20% like restore of our action skill. We could do 5 points in Bounty the Hunt, but that's 5 points versus 1 point down here, and also just going to help us keep our barrage going as fast as possible. And finally, in our SporeWarden tree, we're obviously going to go 5 points in Eagle Eye for that extra gun damage, 5 points into Bullseye for that critical hit chance, and also our companion getting some critical hit chance, 1 point in Spore Cloud for their little poisonous fart that they do, which taunts enemies as well, which is awesome. I love this great skill. Medical Mushroom, so our mushroom comes and revives us if they can, and if it does, they and their companion gain increased damage dealt for a duration. This is nice just because it'll bring us out of our Save Our Soul in case we're not able to do it, and we'll do more damage out of it. Wind Runner kill skill, movement speed and fire rate increase for a duration, making us move even faster fire rate on our weapons. We like this. And then finally, called shot while aiming down sight. The Fate Maker gains increased gun damage and damage resistance for a few seconds. This is just nice because it stacks up really fast and gives us plenty of damage. And this is really great, especially on our SMG against bosses. When it comes to our hero stats, obviously we got all these boosts into BrrZerker. This is going to give us 41.9% extra bonus frost damage while we're in Enrage. We're not doing the Dreadwind or the Feral Surge, but again, it'll give us that extra 41.9 on our Blast Chill as well. So whenever we hit someone, it'll do that. And then when it comes to SporeWarden, we have the Mushroom Companion health is boosted by 17%. Also their damage. Our barrage gets 17% more damage as well. Play the angles 17.1. Obviously you can read that. This is where I would say maybe on your amulet, on your ring, something like that, getting those boosts will kind of help get that up a little higher. But at the same time, I think you might want to focus more into BrrZerker just for that frost efficiency. And when it comes down into your hero points down here, I really just think going to your spell cooldown and action skill is always going to be the most important thing. If you're able to synergize those faster, especially with the Buffmeister, it's going to be huge. And then I mentioned action skill just because if we're able to constantly barrage, this is making sure we're keeping our Enrage constantly going. I put a couple points into Ward, but I think we have plenty of health already in the skill tree as is. A little bit into Wisdom for that frost damage, and then just kind of evened out our strength and our dexterity just because. Quick look at my myth rank. You can kind of see where I got points into everything. A little bit in ability damage there. We got a little bit in the gun damage there. Nothing really into melee over here. And then finally, we've got some frost damage right there, but going a lot into spell. Again, kind of just showing this off. I feel like this is going to have to become a must for a lot of builds just because it's, especially with these final capstone versions, they're uncapped. So you might be able to get a little too much damage out of this sometimes, which is just not all that ideal. Again, big shout out to Chadley. I know he's going to be working on it, another SporeWarden BrrZerker setup. I know a couple other content creators have been talking about it as well, but I just wanted to get my version of this out here in the public for everyone to see. I think it's really awesome. I'm definitely going to be tuning it up a little bit as well, just purely off the fact that there's some non-min-max gear. Again, we're in like the first couple days of the game. I'm more just trying to find different like ways to guide you towards a certain setup just because I think that it could be really awesome. I even kind of tested with this setup a more heavy SporeWarden version of it, which is kind of interesting, where we're going more down its tree, getting the debuffs and ability damage from it. But I end up kind of realizing that a full BrrZerker made more sense for the setup and honestly just had all around better synergy. But thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you guys really enjoy it. Remember, the save file is going to be over in my Discord, so head on over there, snag that. We're going to be having a whole lot more builds coming up in there soon, so just swing on by. Know that you can follow me over on Twitch as well. We're going to be doing some chaos runs with viewers, so if you're somebody who's just like, hey, I want to play with the streamer, I want to hang out, I want to get some good gear and stuff like that, swing on by. We're going to be doing that most days starting at noon Eastern over on my Twitch channel. Give a thumbs up on this video. It really does help. You don't realize it. Comment down below what is a setup that you are working on right now or have been working on. I'm just really interested to see what everyone's focusing into. I know Spell Shot's been a huge thing. I know a lot of people have been doing a lot of Stabomancer. I really want to do a BrrZerker Stabomancer setup just because I think that with the Enrage, with the kind of Gorillas in the Mist Shadow perk that Stabo has would work really well with BrrZerker. But again, we're just kind of doing one build at a time here. So let me know what you guys think, and guys, make sure to follow me over on Twitter for updates on the channel, and also to know whenever my code for G Fuel is 30% off. Again, code BERT at G Fuel checkout. Thank you so much. Hope you have a great night, day, or whatever it may be.